Welcome to the Bite Size Fitness Show, where we talk all things fitness, nutrition, and habits, and break them down into smaller, more digestible, bite-sized pieces of content for you to enjoy. My name is Sean Bikerick, and I am your host, and in today's episode, I'm going to be breaking down the pros and the cons of group workouts. Now, for those who don't know me, I owned a gym for 10 years, and this is what we did. Okay, so specifically group workouts, so this one's right up my alley. There are some pros and cons, and ultimately whether or not this type of workout is going to be best for you comes down to what your priorities are. What are the most important things for you? So I'm going to break those down for you, and then you can kind of decide whether or not this seems appealing or not so much. So the pros. Potentially the biggest pro is going to come down to the community aspect, and this was one of the things that we got complimented on the most by far. If you like the whole social aspect of going to the gym, knowing people there, having that friendly camaraderie with the people in your workout, the coaches, the trainers, it's something that you're going to get a lot more in with group workouts than you are if you just do your own thing. Okay, so recently I got my gym membership at a big box gym, and out of the several weeks that I've been there, I don't think I've said a word to anybody, which for me, I don't mind, but I know a lot of people really enjoy the social aspect of fitness, and these group workouts can be a great way to establish that community and social aspect. Another pro would be just the energy. So the energy of the workout itself, you have usually loud music blasting, you have everyone in a good mood doing the same workout, working towards the same goals, and there is something to be said for that infectious energy that you get during these group workouts that you're not going to get as much if you're on your own. Another pro is intensity. So it's really difficult to not get an intense workout from these group programs. Usually the rest times are relatively short because they're trying to maximize time, they're trying to prioritize energy, so it's a lot of go, which usually means the workouts are going to be intense. So if you like that, at the end of the workout, feeling like you really pushed, you got a good sweat in, then these workouts can really be good for you. And they are relatively scalable, so you can tone them down, you can turn them up, but usually the intensity is a good thing here, and if that's something that you like, might be good for you. A lot of people also like the idea of not having to worry about making their own workouts, right? So they finish work, they show up at the gym, workouts on the board, workouts on the screen, coach goes through the workout. They don't have to make it themselves. They just follow, put in the work, and that's it. It's also a lot more organized. So for those of you who have been to a big box gym can probably relate to this, especially if you're going during busy hours. You might have your workout planned, but if it's busy, the chances of you getting all of the equipment that you want pretty low. So you're going to always have to have a contingency plan. Now, if you go to a group workout and the coach has done a good job of making everything organized, you should never have to worry about using the piece of equipment that you would get for that specific exercise, which can be a big plus for a lot of people, especially if you're working out during those busy hours. Now, there are some cons. The first con I would say is the programming. And this isn't necessarily the coach's fault. It's just because you have so many different people coming in to do the same workout that it's not going to be personalized to anyone, which means a beginner versus someone who's advanced, male versus female, lighter, heavier, whatever it is, regardless of goals, everyone does the same workout. Now, there are some ways to kind of tweak this and make the most of it, but it is more of a one-size-fits-all. There is no personalization that way, and that's just the nature of the beast. Another thing is, even though they'll sell it as coaching, it's not really coaching, because when you have one coach versus 20 members, it's really difficult to give you that personalization. And you got to keep in mind that the main job of a coach during these group workouts is to keep the class organized and flowing. So they want to make sure that the start times are right, the end times are right, that everyone's rotating to the right stations, keeping things organized, keeping the peace. That's the most important thing. And then of course during the sets, that's when the coach is walking around making sure that everybody's doing things properly, hopefully if the coach is doing the right job. But even what ends up happening is there's usually a few people in every workout that could use extra assistance, and because there's only one coach, that means they can only really correct one person at a time. So there are going to be other people that aren't doing things correctly that could probably use a little bit of additional coaching. But once again, it's not necessarily the coach's fault. There's only so much they can do, and their main priority is keeping the class running. It can get busy. So sometimes these workouts can get super busy. They can get really crowded. And even though if it's organized, you don't have to worry about the equipment, you can be kind of packed in there like sardines, and not everyone likes that as well. So just keep that in mind. One of the biggest issues can be overuse injuries because of the fact that intensity and energy are prioritized so much. It tends to mean that your rest times are relatively short, and you're probably going to be doing a lot of the same exercises over and over and over again for higher reps, which in the short term is totally fine, but in the long term, what ends up happening is a lot of people develop overuse injuries, even with the boot camp we had a lot of people develop shoulder pain, knee pain, back pain. And if you do the same movements over and over again, especially if you already have imbalances, sometimes those tend to get perpetuated, and overuse injuries are something that are super common in these group workouts. And then the final one, for me, this was probably the biggest thing, is it's very difficult to program strength training into these group workouts. You can do it as much as you like. You can still work with dumbbells and barbells and all these strength exercises, but true strength training, you need most of the time a minute to 2 minutes of rest after each set, which kind of goes against everything that a lot of these group workouts are promoting, right? You lose a lot of that energy, you lose a lot of that intensity, because the whole point is you want to be maximizing the time. You're active most of the time and you're not resting too much. But in order to really get the most out of strength training, rest is super important. So even though these boot camps, like my one as well, can really say that yes, we prioritize strength training, which is true because the exercises are what they are. Unless you're resting and recovering, you can't use the weights that you probably should, and or you can't get the benefits that you could. So at the end of it, that was one of the big things that I struggled with, was I was programming workouts for other people, but I wouldn't do them myself because I wanted those longer rest times. So it just comes down to what you prioritize. Okay, so as you go through these pros and cons, there's two types of people here. Think about if you are someone who loves the idea of having the social aspect of working out, if you like really good energy during your workouts, if you like the intensity, breaking a good sweat, if you like to not have to worry about making your workout, you can kind of show up and just do it, and if you like the idea of never having to stress about whether or not the equipment's going to be there for you or not, then it might be a great option for you. If you're someone who really likes the idea of having a workout personalized or programmed specifically for you, if you want more one-on-one attention with a coach, if you think form is super important, if you think exercise prescription based off your goals is super important, if the thought of overuse injuries might concern you, or you already know you have issues that you want to work around, and or if you really want to prioritize strength training. So if strength training is something that's super important to you and you don't really care as much about the community aspect of it, then maybe a group workout is not for you. Okay, so for some people, it's amazing. For others, it's not. That's totally fine. I have more pros than cons myself, obviously having been in this exact modality for 10 plus years. But really, it comes down to your personal preference. So I hope this video helped, and I will see you all in the next one.